so this is the 2024 Santa Cruz Classic Criterium. This is the men's Cat 3. And as you can tell, probably from looking at the ground, this was a wet one. And as you can probably tell looking at the course map in the top right, this was a very technical course as well. Um, which this is one of my favorite courses personally, but wet and technical always makes for kind of interesting, sometimes sketchy race. First difficult bit is this hairpin right here, right after the start finish, and I mean you can just see how tight that is, and people go really hard out of it. The second difficult bit is this off camber corner with some manhole covers in it that leads right into this hill, and this hill is at around like 3 or 4%, but it's harder than it looks because I mean, you can see I'm doing like 400 or 500 watts and losing position. There were a couple spots where you could move up though. One of them was right here, going through the start finish after the hill and before the hairpin. People would slow up quite a bit, especially like the front of the peloton is not going very quickly if they're looking up to the hairpin, and then you can move up. The other spot you can move up is down here after the hairpin. When people go ballistic, they then coast a little bit afterwards, and if you just sort of stay on the power just a little bit, not even much, like 150, 200 watts, you can gain quite a few positions a lot of the time. In terms of teams, Big Orange had a couple guys. They're in that kind of zebra looking kit to my left there. Mike's Bikes Development had a few guys. They were in that sort of purple and red kit right on my left now. Team California had a couple strong juniors. They're in that like white kit with the yellow stripe. Dolce Vita had a few guys. That's one of them passing me on the left. Work Health Solutions also had a few guys. That's one of their guys on my left there. Penvelo had two riders. They're in that sort of orange and yellow kit on passing on the right there. And I'm racing for Alto Velo, but I was solo in this race. I didn't have any teammates, so it kind of all came down to me. So my strategy was basically just to sit in and wait for the field sprint. So that's what I did for the first like 2/3 of this race. So without further ado, I'll get into the last few laps of this race where some interesting stuff started to happen.
All right, now we're coming into about 6 laps to go, and you can see it's actually quite bunched up here for the hill. I'm doing like 350 watts going up this hill and not really losing position, which for this race was kind of rare. And you'll see even here, I try to gain a little bit of spots while really not doing much power at all, but I don't want to eat too much wind, and seems like no one else really wants to. That guy there attacks, but I'm trying to sit in for the field sprint, so, and like I don't think he has a good chance of making it. And since I don't have any teammates, I really have no reason to chase him. So I'm just gonna try to sit back, and coming into this hairpin, I let another guy through, which probably not ideal, but it's not the end of the world. This guy gets pushed wide, um, and then I have to spike up to like 600 watts getting out of this corner just to stick on this wheel, which sucks, but I should have been a little bit further forward there, but I mean, at least I have a wheel going through here now. And, I'm not doing much power now that we're at the bottom, but it's going so fast, and I'm just trying to recover from spiking up that much, so I'm not really trying to pass anyone there. Stays pretty fast, pretty strung out. I mean, you can see I'm now doing like 400 watts in the draft, which is insane, especially for a Cat 3 race, but staying pretty hard, pretty strung out all the way through here, and I just trying to save as much energy as I possibly can while also not losing too much in terms of positioning. So now going up this hill, like you're gonna see I spike up to 400 and now up to like 500 watts, and I'm losing places. And I'm a light guy. Like I weigh like 135-ish pounds, around like 62 kilos. 500 watts is a lot for me, and I lost 3 positions doing that. Around 8 watts per kilo. But then, things of course naturally slow up a little bit towards the top. It's still pretty strung out, but I can now gain a few positions while doing like 300 watts, which is a much more sustainable effort for me. But I don't quite gain enough positions there because you're going to see now going into this hairpin, a couple riders take lines that are a little bit slower, and now there are some gaps opening up, and I'm getting caught behind a split with 5 laps to go, which absolutely is not where I want to be. That definitely sucks. So I'm just hoping that this split closes as quickly as it opens. And so I'm going to follow wheels, try to get as much of a draft as possible. I'm following this Los Gatos bike racing guy right now just because he seems motivated to bring this back. And then you're going to see I start to go around this guy, and now I'm going around. That's Daniel on Super Sprinkles there, and I'm getting to the front to try to close this down. And you can maybe see it's starting to close. I'm doing a lot of effort to close this, but it's definitely starting to close. And now Big Orange is here to try to help me out a little bit further. But right here, this guy's front tire hits that manhole cover, which is wet and slippery, and he slides out and leaves me with nowhere to go, and I hit the deck. And everyone goes by me. You're going to see I try to get up right here to get back into the race, but those guys are so far away at this point, and my arms are starting to hurt. So I just call it here. Fortunately, none of my injuries were too bad. I just got some mild road rash on my arm and side, but unfortunately, this was after 3 laps had ended, so I wasn't able to get back into the race, which I was really bummed about. But yeah, somehow this was my first ever crash in a race in 3 years of racing, which I figure means I gotta be doing something kind of right. Anyway, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed. Remember to smash like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.